The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Well, good morning. I'm Elena Rusk. We have Tully Anderson back
Hello.
with us again today. Now to news around the nation and the ongoing floor fight happening in Washington as Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy failed for a third straight day to earn enough votes to become Speaker of the House. The longest vote for the House Speaker lasted 2 months with 133 ballots. That was all the way back in 1855. Today, lawmakers head to the floor for the 12th time to cast their votes. NBC's Bree Jackson has been following this drama in D.C. for us.
Fulcher, McCarthy,
Vote
Gates, Trump,
after vote
Cloud, Donalds,
after vote,
McCarthy.
and still no House Speaker. Kevin McCarthy, the leading Republican vote-getter, failing to reach the magic number of 218 for the 11th time Thursday. Still, he says he'll try and try again.
They do all hypothetical anything you want. Who else can get to 200 votes?
Roughly 90% of GOP members support McCarthy's bid to become Speaker, but a small group of rebel Republicans say they never will, even voting for former President Trump instead.
I wouldn't be betting on my vote for Kevin McCarthy under almost any circumstance.
It takes to the 4th of July, it takes that 4th of July, but at the end of the day, Kevin will be the Speaker.
Despite making concessions, including a rule that a single House member could force a vote to remove the Speaker, some hardline holdouts refused to budge.
Politics for these people has become entertainment. It has become sport.
The House can't function amid the fierce GOP infighting, as frustrated Democrats can only sit by and watch.
Literally a branch of the government is offline while we're waiting for this to get resolved.
This is only an example of what we're likely to see over the next couple of years.
The House stands adjourned until...
After days of chaos on the House floor, lawmakers hope to bring this lengthy process to an end. It's now the longest contest for the gavel since before the Civil War. The longest vote for House Speaker lasted 2 months and 133 ballots. That happened back in 1855. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
And you've probably heard some of the national pundits discussing what this extended stalemate means for Kevin McCarthy and for the nation. But what does it mean for the people back here in McCarthy's 20th Congressional District of California? Our 17's Robert Price has more.
Day 3 of the speakership vote drama in Washington, D.C. finds Kevin McCarthy's constituents back here in Bakersfield with a range of reactions, from praying for his political survival to expecting things to maybe not go so well.
With the selection of a speaker, an unremarkable one-ballot procedural exercise for every Congress since the chaos of 1923, that's 100 years of perfunctory formality up till now. Kevin McCarthy's base of support at home might be expected to be squarely in his corner, and many of them, like Delano Minister Anna Bell, are.
I've been voting for him all along. To me, he's the most trusted person that I can vote for, and I know he will fight for our rights and our needs, like not extra spending the money that we don't need to spend.
But things weren't supposed to go like this. Bell said she stopped watching after the second ballot and had no idea the vote on the House floor would be moving on to a 12th ballot.
What? He's still running?
Yeah.
Well, I'm praying for him to become the Speaker of the House.
Not everyone is praying. Some say karma has caught up with the long-serving congressman from Bakersfield. This is Alan Tackett.
If you want my honest opinion, okay, well, Kevin doesn't keep his word. He flip-flops, you know, and I don't trust the man.
Tackett's prediction?
I think probably a Democrat will get it. Hakeem, is that his name, Hakeem?
That would be brand new House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York. And yes, that would be an upset for the ages. Joey Garza thinks McCarthy's inconsistency finally caught up with him.
I don't know Mr. McCarthy that well, but I don't trust him because he goes back on his word, he's back and forth. One moment he talks bad about Trump, the next day he's over there visiting him in Mar-a-Lago, and I don't like a person like that. I want you to be honest, sincere, and truthful, you know.
And yet,
he probably gonna make it, yeah. I wish he wasn't, but he probably gonna make it.
Brett Knight of Stockton is just enjoying the entertaining history lesson.
It's kind of amazing to me that in 100 years they've never seen anything like this in the U.S. Congress. That, to me, that he's hanging on pretty desperately here.
His prediction?
I guess that kind of depends on where the Republican Party's at right now. And right now they seem to be kind of divided and in disarray. He was kind of expecting it, and I think there were a lot of people that thought that it was just going to happen. So, yeah, this is a little unexpected and quite entertaining.
And so, round after round, the drama continues. A little reminiscent here of the Garza Circle, perhaps. In downtown Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
Let's head over now to the latest with the coronavirus. As COVID-19 surges in China, the U.S. now expanding its traveler surveillance program, an early warning system for detecting new variants. With the addition of Los Angeles and Seattle, there are now 7 airports where volunteer passengers can swab themselves on arrival. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention program now covers about 500 flights, including more than half from the China region. Yesterday, that is, the CDC also began requiring passengers from China, Hong Kong, and Macau to test negative for COVID-19 before flying to the U.S. Meanwhile, scientists want to see more screening of wastewater from arriving airplanes. And let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 case numbers here locally, as Kern County Public Health updated their dashboard yesterday to reflect 2,098 new positive cases and 4 new deaths over the past week. State data shows we have 76 patients hospitalized locally with the virus and 10 listed in intensive care units.
In your 17 Health Watch, the start of January brings in the new year with a renewed call for blood donations. As we kick off National Blood Donor Month, if you have been on the fence about donating blood, reconsider, because it could help save someone's life. The Red Cross says every 2 seconds someone in the country is in need of blood transfusion. Donating usually takes up to 10 minutes of your time, and some places even offer great incentives, like even gift cards. Here at home, Hao Chin Community Blood Bank says it always is in need of donations. In a call to action yesterday, Hao Chin said Kern County's severe blood shortage will continue unless we do our part and donate, adding, quote, "This is not us crying wolf, this is life or death." And if you would like to donate, you can contact 323-4222. And check this out. Scientists at Brigham and Women's Hospital say they've developed a therapy that reprograms live cancer cells to kill off tumors. Doctors say the technique is able to trigger the body's immune system to protect it against cancer, much like the way a vaccine protects us from disease. So far, the treatment's only been tested on tumors in mice, but doctors say it could reach the clinical testing phase within 3 to 5 years.
Just incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right, let's turn now to some developing news in Florida. At least 10 people have been hurt in a shooting outside of a popular restaurant in Miami. Witnesses say the gunfire erupted last night while rapper French Montana was shooting a music video there. The Miami Gardens restaurant, believed to be co-owned by DJ Khaled. 4 people airlifted to a hospital, 1 person reportedly in critical condition. The conditions of the others not known, including the rapper himself, and it's unclear what sparked this violence.
Today is the 2nd anniversary of the January 6th Capitol attack. The largest investigation in the Justice Department's history keeps growing 2 years after a violent mob of supporters of then President Donald Trump attacked the Capitol. More than 930 people have been charged with federal crimes related to the siege, and that tally increases by the week. Hundreds more remain at large on the 2nd anniversary of the unprecedented assault that was fueled by lies and that the 2020 election was stolen. Federal prosecutors have a near perfect trial record, securing a conviction in all but 1 case. The cases have clogged Washington's federal court, and already scheduled for this year are trials for about 140 riot defendants. Among the January 6th tributes today in Washington, President Biden will award the Presidential Citizens Medal to 12 people, including law enforcement members injured defending the Capitol and election workers who rejected former President Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election. The award is the 2nd highest honor a citizen can receive, and Biden will also honor Brian Sisnick, a Capitol police officer who died a day after he was assaulted defending the Capitol. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is now the target of a wrongful death lawsuit of Brian Sisnick following that riot. Sisnick's longtime partner filed the lawsuit against Trump and then the men charged with assaulting him that day. The suit calls Sisnick's death one of the, quote, reasonable and foreseeable consequences of defendant Trump's words and conduct. The lawsuit seeks $10 million in damages from Trump and an additional $10 million from each of the two other men, Julian Cater and George Tanios, who have already pleaded guilty to some of the charges against them. That's including assaulting officers and entering and remaining in a restricted building. They are both scheduled to be sentenced later this month.
Now to the California Capitol, where Governor Gavin Newsom plans to kick off his second and reportedly final term by comparing his leadership style to that of Republican governors and former President Donald Trump. The Democratic governor is scheduled to lead a march to the state capitol today, followed by a speech. His second term officially began on Monday, but he chose January 6th for his inauguration events to draw a contrast to that violent attack on the U.S. Capitol 2 years ago today. Newsom entering his second term with strong support from many Californians, but potential headwinds in the form of an expected budget deficit. He is widely seen as a future presidential candidate, though he plans to support President Joe Biden, he says, in 2024.
All right, back here home in your 17 Crime Watch, a man is dead after reportedly shooting at passing cars on Stockdale Highway yesterday. The Kern County Sheriff's Office reports they got the call a little after 9 a.m. for a report of the man with a gun along the busy road on the west end of town between Highway 43 and the junction of the West Side Parkway. When deputies arrived on scene, they saw the man was dead in the field, apparently from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Detectives temporarily shut down traffic in the area while they assumed the investigation, but the roadway has since reopened.
All right, let's turn now to your 17 Court Watch. A Bakersfield man convicted of murder 40 years ago is now one step closer to walking out of prison. Cedric Struggs was convicted of first-degree murder in 1980 after a robbery he was involved in, along with two other suspects, ended in the shooting death of Alfred Joe Dishman. Although Struggs didn't pull the gun or fire the shots, he was sentenced to 25 years to life under a rule that allowed a murder conviction if the defendant had committed a dangerous felony that resulted in the death of another person. Well, that law changed in 2019, and it's retroactive, meaning those convicted can be resentenced for their crimes and possibly released. A court of appeals ordered Struggs' case to be re-examined, and at a hearing at the Kern County Courthouse yesterday, his murder conviction was set aside. The now 60-year-old will remain in custody until he is resentenced on February 2nd for the underlying robbery charge. Meantime, one of two men charged with murder and robbery in the stabbing death of a man whose body was found in July north of Arvin pleaded not guilty in court yesterday. 26-year-old Raymond Moreno, accused of killing 29-year-old Merlin Rodriguez Valle of San Francisco. His body found July 22nd in the area of Buena Vista Boulevard near Comanche Drive. According to a probable cause declaration, witnesses reported seeing the other defendant, 29-year-old Jose Luis Barraza, stab Valle. Witnesses also reported seeing Barraza and Moreno remove a body from a vehicle. Barraza currently not listed in custody, Moreno being held on $1 million bail, and he's due back in court January 17th.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.